Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another MLB free agency signing video. Breaking news. And I just want to be on record and say I called this, a month and a half or 2 months ago? Trey Mancini is a Cub, and I was right. So, super excited about this. I will be going over the signing and then a little bit more about the Cubs in general at the end. But the Cubs got their guy, and I'm excited about it. So, let's talk about it. Trey Mancini, it is reported that has agreed to a 2-year contract with the Cubs, and it looks like Jesse Rogers from ESPN was the first one to break it maybe 5 minutes ago, if even that. So, super cool. He can opt out of the contract after the 2023 season, so after this year. There is not a salary at this moment, but I believe he was worth $10.5 million going into this free agency signing, and that I think is what was holding him up from the Astros re-signing him, as well as a couple of other teams not signing him until now. But what I said in that other video was that he is a supporting piece, and I kind of coupled that with the Dansby Swanson video. So again, if you haven't seen those two videos, go check it out. But basically, the Cubs got the guy, the superstar, locked him up for 8 years. They got Dansby Swanson, right? And I said, I believe it was the first video, I think it was the first video of that Trey Mancini is the guy who is a supporting role. They need to get a Dansby Swanson. They needed to get somebody like Carlos Correa, right, to be that centerpiece, and then Trey Mancini is the supporting role. He is a guy who will make the Cubs a lot better. He is not going to be a Dansby Swanson, but he's going to get some good playing time on the Cubs. I mean, let's look at the Cubs roster for 1 second, especially around the infield. The active roster on MLB.com, man, they have a lot of pitchers. You've got Nico Hoerner, who I guess will be probably moved to second base, I would guess. Eric Hosmer, they just signed him. Obviously, he's going to play some first base. But now you've got Trey Mancini as well. They're both, opposite. So, platoon a guy. They obviously have Dansby Swanson. Those are your big three names. I'm not actually sure who would play third base over there. Not Trey Mancini. He would obviously play first base, a little bit of DH, and then in the outfield where he can. But the Cubs are making moves, right? And again, Trey Mancini is that supporter, right? I think you're building around Dansby Swanson, of course, but Nico Hoerner, he had his best season ever last year, right? Eric Hosmer, he's a cheap option as a supporting piece, but now you got the platoon. You've got Cody Bellinger, who you signed for a year. Ian Happ is okay. You've got a core group of people, and adding Trey Mancini, we'll go over his stats here again if you haven't seen that first video, but he's adding that piece. He had a 1.4 WAR in 2022, a 101 OPS plus, 18 home runs, 63 RBI, and a batting average of 240. Now, he did have a tale of two halves, where in the first part of the season when he was with Baltimore, oddly enough, when the dimensions changed, it made it more of a pitcher's ballpark anyway. He was doing a lot better, and he played in 92 games. His numbers were way up, a 143 OPS plus. He hit 10 home runs out of his 18. And then he went to Houston, really struggled outside of the first weekend that he was there, where he hit 2 or 4 home runs or something like that in that first weekend. And his average was 176. His OPS plus was at 75. He was a completely different player in what should be more of a hitter's ballpark, I would think. But completely different player. He did win a ring, and I think that's what the Cubs are looking at, right? How can they rebuild from their 2016 year, basically with all new players, and go from there? They got their main guy. Now they're getting supporting pieces. And there are still pieces out there, right? And that's what I want to get into in this video a little bit as well, is that the Cubs are not done. Yes, this video is about Trey Mancini, and of course, that's what I want to focus on. Down in the comments below, do you think the Cubs are making the right improvements? Are they getting the guys they need to? Is Trey Mancini part of that picture? I don't know. And like I said, there are a lot of Cubs fans. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, so a lot of Cubs fans around here, a lot of Brewers fans as well. They hate each other, but they're moving in the right direction, right? They have a lot of core pieces that they can build on. So let me know down in the comments. But like I said, they're not done. They want to get more, and it was just reported literally within the hour, so within the last half hour, that the Cubs are also looking at Matt Moore and Andrew Chafin. So guys we've talked about before. I know that I said, the Padres were interested. I know I said that, who else? The Mets were interested in Mancini. Looks like the Cubs are sneaky, though. Like, it was just reported today that the Cubs were still in on Mancini, actually. So they were in talks a little while ago with Mancini, with guys like Andrew Chafin, Matt Moore, it looks like now. They've been in talks with guys, then they kind of disappear. They go under the radar, and then they come right back, snap, and then they get it, So maybe this is a lookout, in a day or two for Andrew Chafin and Matt Moore. So if you want to take a look at their stats, Matt Moore, he is a pitcher, a lefty, if that matters. He had a great year last year. 2.4 WAR, a ERA under 2, 5-2 on the season. He did only throw 74 innings, had a whip of 1.17, but that's pretty good, right? As he had 5 saves as well. I actually don't know what kind of role that I guess he would be in, but he's kind of bounced around. Maybe he lands with the Cubs, finds a home there, and is able to be another supporting piece, especially with those numbers. Like I just said, that is good quality stuff from a 33-year-old, nonetheless, right? I mean, Trey Mancini, right, he is a little bit older, a little on that older 30, pushing 31 side, probably a little bit out of his prime. I hope that Houston's second half of the season isn't exactly what he is, continuously moving forward as. I hope he gets back to his roots in Baltimore, but you've got a guy like Matt Moore as well, who is a little older. They've got that veteran status, and they've been established. So that's what's really important there. Andrew Chafin, we also mentioned, he is a pretty well-known right-handed pitcher. He has had some good years. He has also had some not-so-good years. And in recent history, I would say that he is probably right on par with what you would expect coming out of the bullpen. Couple of wins, couple of losses. Keeps that ERA under 2 to 3. If you go and look at since the 2021 season, obviously he hasn't played in 100 and some games, but he plays in 70 in 2021. I mean, he was all over the place. He's a guy who's going to get in frequently, right? Not every game, but he's a guy you can go to more often than not in the bullpen. And if he's only throwing 1 inning a game, you can get him in a lot. So even though he's 33 now, he's probably not going to push that 70 game like he was in his previous years, but he was just with the Cubs in 2021. It might be a reunion, and he puts up numbers that are pretty good, right? With Detroit this last year in 2022, he had 64 outings, 57 innings pitched, 3 saves, and a FIP under 3, the ERA under 3. He's a pretty good pitcher. Like, he's reliable, right? He's not going to win you a ton of games. He's not going to lose you a ton of games. He's pretty reliable, right in the middle. And he wants to go back to the Cubs, or at least he's rumored to possibly go back to the Cubs. So some real interest building around a run at the NL Central. It's kind of wide open, I would say. Like, the Cardinals are obviously good, but they lost some pieces. The Brewers maybe made a change or two in there. Really, I think it's wide open. There is not a clear contender coming out of the NL Central. The Cubs are really, maybe the Cubs saw that and were said, we got to pay some money here. We got to spend money on Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger, and Trey Mancini, and then build some pitchers around him. So that's what I've got for you in this video. I hope you guys do enjoy. Let me know if you, again, think Trey Mancini or these pitchers will end up with the Cubs, and if that makes the team better. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.